What's up, guys? Another update video. Today what we're going to be working on is my Honda Civic. It's been quite a work in progress. I bought it just short of 2 years ago, and the car was pretty hacked up whenever I bought it. So I've slowly been trying to put it together the way it should have been. It's a 97 Honda Civic, and it's motor swapped, and I'll explain a little bit more of that here in a minute. Okay, so here's the car. It's in pretty decent shape for the year. I actually just put these doors on, that's why there's a pinstripe down the side of those and not on the rest of the car. But like I said, whenever I bought this car, it was pretty hacked up. Like I said, it's motor swapped. I'll show you that here. Okay, it is a H23A out of I think it's a 1995 Honda Prelude. They were anywhere from 92 through 96. There's nothing internally done to the motor. All I've done, like I said, was try to get it the way it should have been done originally. I've put new motor mounts in. These are the swap mounts. This has the fourth mount added in the front, which is kind of different than what most people do. See, there's that mount. They are innovative motorsports mounts. Whenever I got it, it had some cheesy eBay mounts in it, and they really didn't work very well. They were crushed and getting loose. So just recently, actually, in the summertime, we pulled this motor out and cleaned it up and painted it this burnt copper color, tranny also. And while that was apart, I replaced every oil seal you can in the motor, like main seals, cam seals. We did new intake gaskets and the oil cooler sandwich plate in the back of the motor. We did O-rings in that. I put a new oil pan on because whenever I bought the car, there it is. Whenever I bought the car, it was on coilovers, and I think they had them a little bit low at one point, and they actually bought the oil pan out. There was a big dent in it. Also, whenever it was out, we painted the engine bay, just gloss black, core support and everything. I got a AEM correct swapped motor intake system, cold air intake system, and it puts it up into the inner fender. I put new headlights in it, new front bumper. It still needs a hood, but I'm gonna get that at some point here soon. So, like I said, whenever we had the motor and tranny out, I put a new clutch and flywheel in, and the clutch is an Exidy Stage 2. It's like a 3-puck clutch, and I paired that with a Fidanza. I think it's a 8.5 pound flywheel. So that's pretty much all on the motor side of things. Show you inside here. I actually, just last weekend, I wish I would have had the camera for this. I put all new interior in, new dashboard, new heater controls, The door panels still need replaced, but I did get speaker grills for these, and I'll tell you where I got those in a minute. Whenever I got this car, like I said, like 2 years ago, they were missing, and it had some cheesy aftermarket speakers in. I got new carpet too, and I'm thinking about doing a rear seat delete in this at some point, just making a flat panel back through here so that there's a little bit more room for hauling things. These seats are actually out of a 93 Prelude. I had to modify the seat rails and stuff, but they do work. They slide back and forth like they should. All of this interior I got out of a U-Pullet junkyard called Johnny U-Pullets. It's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. If anybody needs parts for pretty much anything, domestic, foreign, whatever, they can probably hook you up. Like I said, it's a U-Pullet, take your own tools. It's like a $2 entry fee to get in and look, see what they have. Pretty nice place. I was able to get the dash, all these kick panels that go along right at the edge of the carpet, full center console, and I actually swapped this one up to a taller center console with the cubby in it. While I had this apart, I also underneath here, whenever you do a H swap in one of these Civics, they're cable shifted now instead of a rod shifted down through the floor like they would have been from factory. So whenever I got it, like I said, it was all hacked up, and they had real big holes cut, just kind of sloppy, so there was a lot of air leaking. So I boxed those in and got it sealed up as best as I could. There's virtually no air coming up through the floor now. So what we're going to be working on today then is this one last piece of trim. What happened when I went to put it on, I'll get it out of the back seat. Okay. See this here? That's where your gas door release and your hatch release is. You know, on here there's a keyhole on this piece. Well, the car that I got it out of had that particular model, I guess you would say, but this car, it doesn't have the lockable trunk release. So when I went to put this on last weekend, it wouldn't quite fit. So what I did, got on eBay, which is one of my favorite places, and I ordered this. So now I have the correct part. So what we're going to do is take the old one out, put this one in, and we'll see how this part lines up then. Alright guys, I'm back. I just had to grab some tools. So what we're going to have to do first is take the seat belt off. It's not going to break that loose. I'll have to get myself a ratchet. Alright, that's broke loose now. Should be able to use this little impact. These are really handy to have around whenever you're working on stuff like this. Most bolts will take out. Sometimes stuff's a little seized up and they need a little bit of help breaking it loose. They're only rated for like 1,700 inch-pounds or something like that. So some bolts it's just not going to be good for. Alright, move the seat back. Okay, 10 millimeter. A little bit hard one-handed. There we are. Okay. There's 2 bolts on this. These are a little bit tight. Maybe a little bit of junk on them. Alright, I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so this part that I got to replace this other one here with the key, I don't actually have a key for it because whenever I purchased it, it didn't come with a key. So what I think I'm going to do, just so that just by chance if it might try to lock itself and then I won't be able to release my trunk from inside here, I'm going to try to do a modification here. Maybe just cut this off, because this latch right here, that's what locks that, and then you see you can't release it. So what I'm thinking is if I can just cut that off so that there's no chance of that happening, that's what I'm going to do. So I think what I'll do is just cut this off and we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, so what I did was I just used this chop saw here, that one, and I just cut the end of that whole bracket off. That way the key switch, or the key lock, actually stays in there. I think it's held in with this little pin and bracket here, but then there's no chance of that locking on me, because that would be kind of irritating, have to yank everything back apart and get it to unlock. So we'll go ahead and take this back out to the car and put it in. Alright guys, I got it all installed. I put a little bit of anti-seize stuff here on the bolts. I always like to do that, especially here where they go inside the back of this rocker panel, and if there's any kind of corrosion or anything getting back up into there, that way they won't seize up on you. The next thing I got to deal with is, you see right there and right there, there's these clips I think that one's intact yet. This front one here, it broke the one edge off of it. And how that happened, you know, I've been driving this car pretty much daily, and I didn't have this panel in, and my boot caught on this getting in, and it just tore it off. So I think that these are the same clips that were on the door trim. So I should have an extra one over here. Now these are the old doors I took off. Well, maybe they're not the same. Not even sure how you'd go about getting this out. Okay, maybe we will just hook it on that one clip in there, and that should be okay. Okay, that's clipped in now. That should be alright. Okay, we'll go ahead and see if we can get this piece of trim in right here. I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, I got it all back together. Got this kick panel in, and the pillar panel, not pillar, this panel. You see how this fits a little bit better now than it did. It's not perfect though. Something's not quite right around this lock, but it's not going to affect the use of it any. So I think it'll be perfectly fine for what I'm doing. Like I said, this is just a daily driver. Just trying to get it cleaned up. So the only thing I have left to do in here that I'd like to do is wipe it all down with Armor All, because I haven't got to do that yet. There was one place, I don't know if you can see it or not, right there, there's still some. Whenever I bought this dash out of the U-Pull-It junkyard there, they had some kind of number wrote on this. Guessing it was a identifying number for the auction place that they buy their cars from. So what I did earlier was I read on the internet where someone had taken grease and wax remover to get the number off of a piece of plastic paneling of some sort that they had from a junkyard too, and the grease and wax remover, it didn't hurt the finish any. This light area right here, all this is this is the dash that used to be in the car, and what happened, they had this thing painted with that vinyl paint that you can buy like AutoZone or whatever, and it just took some of that off. This was actually a light gray dash originally. So what I'm going to attempt to do, hopefully it doesn't hurt my new dash, is use a little bit of the grease and wax remover and see if I can get the last little bit of those numbers off the dash, and then we can polish it up. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I got some of the grease and wax remover on a rag here, and we're going to try to take this off. Seems like this stuff's pretty stubborn. There's a lot of texture to this dash, little grooves and things on it, just the way the vinyl's made. And that whatever kind of marker that they used, it got down in those little grooves. It doesn't want to let go. I guess it's getting dry. Put a little bit more on there. Alright, one last letter there. Let's see if I can sit down in here and do this. Looks like I got it. Look through the windshield again. Well, there's still a spot there. Let me switch hands here for a second. Okay. Sweet. Alright. So now I'm ready to armor roll everything and get it shined up. And we'll be all done with this part of the project on this. Alright, I'll go ahead and do that and I'll come back and show you the finished product. Alright, I'm back. I got all the armor all done. Those door panels still just need replaced. Whenever I bought it, it was like this. The whole plastic backing piece and the trim that goes in along the inside of the window is missing. So that one definitely needs replaced. That one's but it has some marks and stuff in it I don't really like. Plus they don't match. They are a lighter gray, and you can see here the difference. This is the classy gray and this is the light gray. The classy gray is what the whole rest of the interior is. But got all that in. I think you can definitely tell by the shine there, the light reflecting off of it, that really helped. I got the center all cleaned up and everything. So looks pretty good. Not perfect. This car's not perfect to begin with, so we'll release the trunk. There is still one piece of trim, well, two pieces that I need to put in. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it. One of them is this lower panel right here. I might be able to get it back on, but see what happened. Not entirely sure. Somehow or another, these got pounded down in. You can see they're not level there. It was like that whenever I bought it again. Like I said, the kid that had this car really, I guess you should say he was kind of racing it out, I guess. He had his own speaker wires ran outside of the factory loom to the rear speakers and everything. And I removed all that. I got it back to factory. I put factory radio back in, and I have the accessory CD deck down there, and it actually works really well. The only thing is the driver's door speaker is not working, and I have to pull that out and see if the speaker's blown or if I'm not getting power somewhere through the wiring. But this is the other piece of plastic here that I need to put on, and I have both of those pieces in the garage there. So I'm going to go ahead and try to work on that. See, there's a little bit of rust starting back here. But I didn't tell you this earlier, I put new drums, shoes, springs, everything in the back, painted the drums red to match the front. I actually got a power stop kit that come with the powder coated calipers and new pads and the upgraded rotors, drilled and slotted. They've been in here for a few months now. Like I said, summertime was whenever I did this. So also whenever I had this before, like I said, that kid had it all chopped up. It didn't have inner fenders in, and I bought some real cheesy ones off eBay, and I regret that now. But it's so flexible, it came back and was hitting off the tire there, and it rubbed all. I'm gonna have to replace those again. But at least back here there's protection, because what was happening, it was throwing stones and all kinds of stuff, water, whatever, up through. You can see it's a straight shot up through there, and it was getting into the door, because there's actually this convoluted tubing here, and there's a plug-in right here, like a bulkhead at the front of the door, and he had all that removed. I got all this stuff from that junkyard too. And see up here, right here, that actually is rubber and seals to your pillar coming down, and without an inner fender and that not being in there, it's actually throwing water up in, and it was getting into the inside of the vehicle, and it stained the carpets and was starting to get rust starting and stuff in the floor. But I got that stopped. So I also had to redo the wiring harness, the engine harness, because he had it all chopped up. And what he did, he would just, you wrap two ends of the wires together, and he would wrap tape around them. Nothing was soldered, nothing was crimp connected, nothing. So I had connections coming loose and things, so I pulled it all out and soldered, heat shrank, and everything, reloomed it, and I haven't had any issues since. And I also have a chipped and socketed ECU in it, and I have just a base map with some couple little modifications. I raised the rev limit, it's at 7,200, and I got rid of the O2 sensors, and I think the knock sensor, maybe, I'm not sure, I don't remember. It's been like a year and a half ago I had that done. It's a HA Motorsports. I ordered it through the internet. They're out of Montana, I think. Just plug and play. At some point I'd like to get this thing dyno tuned, but there's not really any dyno places around my area. If you knew of any that are close to this area, it's like around Bedford, Pennsylvania, comment on my video and let me know, because I would like to have this thing tuned just to see if I get a little bit more power out of it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is try to get these back two panels in, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll be back to show you the progress. Alright guys, so I went ahead and armor-alled this too, because I didn't get that earlier. I was able to get this panel in. There's parts where they were bent down in underneath here where the clips go. I just used a screwdriver and pried up from both sides, got it up enough to where they're attached. This is cracked here though. But what I think, there's a little clip right there that should hold it in, a plastic clip, like a push type, and they expand out the back. I'm thinking whenever I put that in, you can see just holding it in there, it pretty much holds it. Just one on each side. Hopefully whenever I can pick a few of those up, that'll be pretty secure then. The only other thing is, I couldn't put this piece up because all of the clips are missing off of it. See, there's several clips all around it. They're push type, and they would just pop into these holes. But they're all missing, so I'm gonna have to do that another time. I guess that about wraps it up for tonight. The moon's coming out now. So pretty soon it's going to be dark. The only other thing I would say is this exhaust is going to have to go. It is obnoxiously loud. I like the tone of an opened up 4-cylinder, but not the raspiness that this thing has, which it doesn't have a catalytic converter on it. So that's part of it. I'm hoping to put that back in, but I'm going to have to do all custom piping, and I'm not sure yet if I want to bring it like factory and see where it comes up along sided control arm there, curves around the fuel tank and up. What I'm thinking is bring it straight back right through here, angle it out the back, still have a can like this on it, but probably buy a MagnaFlow MagnaPack muffler. They don't burn out, so they don't lose their sound quality. They really quiet things down, but don't obstruct the flow. They're a straight through perforated core type, and if I can bring that straight back, this is 2.5-inch exhaust, by the way. If I can bring it straight back, angle it out, just, I don't know, about like that, like a 15-degree angle maybe. That's what I would like, kind of like the N1 style actual Japanese exhausts. But maybe stay tuned for that. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Funds are a little bit tight right now this time of year. It is almost Christmas, and like I said, I just bought this camera and it wasn't exactly cheap. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper than some that YouTubers buy, but it should work good for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop rambling on about this. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks.